Hi, it's Alex. I'm here with Dominic. Dominic runs a tech startup. He sells services to companies, and I got him here on this interview because he has some extremely valuable lessons. He's a very quick learner. His business has really been growing like crazy. So, Dominic, what has happened over in the last few months? Like, what are your top achievements?
My top achievements have been that we launched quite big projects for clients. Like apart from revenue goals that we achieved, I'm quite proud of the work that we are actually doing
Mhm.
and the value we are delivering to our clients. I'm quite proud of the team that we have gathered by now. Um, Team of driven individuals who really like what they are doing and are quite passionate.
Cool. And in terms of your financial results, what kind of revenues have you been getting, for example, last 30 days?
In the last 30 days, that have been around 25,000 US dollars.
Hmm. Awesome. So in the past, before you joined the mastermind, what was your business like, or what was your life like?
I started out having a 9 to 5 job, and then I tried to start a business and failed miserably. And then I ended up freelancing for a while, and then I got into business. So I have been through various phases of my life that all look completely different.
Uh, what kind of jobs did you have before?
Development jobs. Like I have been a full stack developer for yes. So I quit my job, and then I tried to start a couple of businesses, and I was burning through, obviously like living costs
Hmm.
and ad costs and just um, like investing in some ideas, and they all had like because I was just dabbling in it, so I just basically wasted all the money that I saved up until I hit zero, and I had to get something going. So I started freelancing.
And what kind of startup did you try starting then that failed?
Right. So one of my friends back then was doing drop shipping, and he was like, "You should do drop shipping." And I was like, "That looks easy. Let's do that,
Sure.
right?" So I tried it, and yeah, it's not. What we so-called experts tell you online is is definitely not true. Like um, right now, it's like even harder than like last year, and it becomes harder every day. So it's not as easy as it looks like, right? You don't just sit down, you pick a product, you put it online, and you make some money. That's not how it works. And I would have had to. I believe you can make it work, but you have to put in serious work. And so I just started it, tried a bit around, and it didn't really work. So I I give up. I made a lot of mistakes that I realize now, but yeah, I just wasted a bunch of money. Um, I started doing an online course for Japanese because I'm really like into Japanese kind of stuff. So I did that, but I had no idea about marketing. I wanted to be a life coach, so I tried life coaching. Um, I had no idea about sales, so that's why that business failed. And
And
I switched between back like between the businesses, like then I started drop shipping again or something. I don't know, like as
hmm,
I said.
interesting. And did any of those businesses make money?
I sold one product on dropshipping.
Okay.
So that
That's
was like I was like a $5 profit, yeah.
okay. And then when you started freelancing, how did that go?
Very badly. That was definitely the hardest part of my life I ever had. Um, because I started freelancing on Upwork, and it's a pretty rough platform if you have no idea what to do, how to present yourself, and how to get against the competition that is much lower priced than you. So I ended up working for almost nothing, trying to build up a portfolio and experience.
Mhm.
So yeah, um, I worked really, really hard for basically no money at all, and
Mhm.
that was a really hard time.
Okay. And how much did you end up making from freelancing? Like, was it profitable at all, or
Yeah,
if no
just
money at
before I
all?
joined,
At something came in, right? So.
yeah. So when I started out, I really made like basically nothing. I made like $1 to $2 like per hour, like nothing. And at the end, like just before I joined DBH, it was around 2 to 3K per month.
Okay.
So I worked my way up. Yeah.
Okay. So you went basically from zero to up to
Yep.
$3,000 in a single month. No, I mean
No,
the
no, no.
had
Yeah.
$3,000 month basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So over the course of a year, I increased from $1 an hour to kind of like $40-50 an hour, making 2 to 3K per month.
All right. And did it feel like you were making progress? Like, did you feel like you were delivering a lot of value to clients? Did you feel like they were really happy?
Not really. No. Um, I was constantly under pressure of clients because everything was always urgent.
Mm.
I always had to fear my reputation, and I was not really. I did get good feedback from some clients, and they were really happy with the work, but they just outsourced it to me. Like I mostly worked with some agencies, and they outsourced work to me, and I didn't really had like client contact, so it didn't really felt like I was making much of an impact to anybody.
Hmm. Okay. And did you deliver a lot of very successful projects while you were a freelancer, or were they like more MVPs? Were they like full projects? What kind of stuff was it?
Um, various kind of literally like complete range from like front end development to I developed like a complete salary like a salary application app for a broker company who so that brokers can input what kind of sales they make and they get like um, provision, how is it called, yeah, like
Commission.
provision from, yeah, thank you. And that was like this very complex formula running on their own server, like on Malta.
Mhm.
I did like a trading robot for one business who does some automatic trading and sends signals to a web server that then displays that to registered users that can subscribe to these kind of services. Um, yeah, to like all various kinds of stuff. Like I learned quite a lot through that, but because I took everything, I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Like, yeah, sure, I can.
Okay. And so so when you joined um, the mastermind, right? So when you joined the mastermind, what kind of stuff did you start learning, or what kind of skills did you
Um,
start learning?
the first skills that I learned was, and everything starts from that, was value-based pricing or sales in general.
Mhm.
That was the biggest thing, learning sales.
And how did you, well, you were a freelancer obviously before that for a year, so
hmm
approximately. So how did you do sales before? What kind of stuff were you doing on sales calls?
I didn't had sales calls. Like I didn't do sales. Like I have been on calls, which were interviews, right? But it was not a sales call. Like we were just was an employer interviewing me. That was what I get, and I was yeah, that was all.
Right. And mm, so you learned, so then you started learning sales. And what kind of stuff did you learn about sales? So instead of like taking order, like order taking basically, and being interviewed, what
hmm
what did you change?
Um, right. So I basically changed from just taking orders to actually getting down to clients' requirements and then figuring out with them what he actually needs.
Mhm.
Um, because yeah, if you're not working with an agency that's just outsourcing the work to you, and you're just working with like a person, like a startup or even a business, and they have some kind of idea, they have no they have maybe like a rough concept, but that's all. They don't have like a real plan in their head what needs to happen to get this done. So I would work that out with them together, and yeah, that was one big change. And then obviously figuring out what kind of impact that would make for the business, and putting like a different kind of label on it.
So is it correct to say that you went from basically being interviewed and pushed into a company's production environment, or like their building process or their development environment, whatever you want to call it? So you went from being pushed into that to first consulting them and making sure that they're good to work with and making sure that their processes are good, and then choosing to who you work with. Is that a correct summary of the change you've?
Yeah, exactly. Especially for startups, it was very important because um, if a lot of my clients, if they are just starting out and they don't have like um, in like a big budget, it makes they need consultation like right away to find out, okay, how can we build like an MVP,
Mhm.
and to find out right away, okay, what is easy, what makes sense, how can we change that, how can we change the requirements in a way that it doesn't cost too much. So that is one big part of my calls as well. Yeah, so it is a consultation in the first step.
Interesting. And apart from sales, what other skills have you learned?
um Project management, necessarily, uh hiring people,
Mhm.
which is actually a lot of fun, and managing myself was a big part, becoming more efficient, not
Mhm.
necessarily productive, because I was working, when I was freelancing, I was working 16 hours a day, like, but I wasn't very efficient. I was very distracted, not very focused, you could say. And now I'm much more efficient at what I'm doing.
How did your business progress in those 4 months?
Mm.
The past 4 months, actually.
Okay, so first month was just lead generation, like like just lead generation, and I got my first sales calls, and I, as everybody, I fucked up the first ones, and then yeah, I had my first prospect that was quite interested, and well, the sales call was awesome. I didn't close them right away, and we worked out a proposal, and afterwards I pitched them. It was way too low, but it was good. Like, I pitched them way too low. It has been um, crazy amount of work, uh, and almost like a horrible experience.
Mhm.
But it was a very good experience because I learned so much from it. Right? I learned, like, okay, I don't want to work with these people. It makes no sense to pitch them like too early
Mhm.
if I haven't like written down requirements. It
Mhm.
makes yeah, I learned like how to manage, like, because it was the first project where I also did design
Mhm.
and development. So it was the first project where I had to involve another person. So it was basically
Not a
getting my
designer,
feet
you had
wet.
to get a designer, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So um, I made my first experience like very fast, and that was really good. So I knew, like, okay, what I had to change and what I need to do. And yeah, I just worked it from there. Then it was like a dry period, and then sales were coming in, and yeah, I got more and more steady with my, like, more and more consistent with my sales process and finding something that works for me and also makes sense for the clients. And once I had that down, sales were just going up and up.
Okay. So the period where you had the problems was the first month, or the first, like, how long did that take with the first client?
Yeah, first months. I mean, that website was just launched like this Tuesday. That's
Oh,
basically that's basically how long that project took.
okay.
Um, so it was running like over a course of almost 4 months.
Okay.
Um,
So that was the first client where we're
yeah,
running a business and not just freelancing. Okay, fair enough.
exactly,
So and
exactly. And
then what happened? Yeah.
we basically, I I closed more sales, and then I had to first I worked on it myself like a lot, and then I was like, okay, I need to outsource like the easy work, which in web development is like front end development, because it's just, it doesn't involve any brain basically, right?
Mhm.
It's super simple work. So I outsourced that part, and I had to do what I still had to do was do all the backend development work, which is
Mhm.
quite complex, and I couldn't find anybody good enough um, to actually do it. Um, until we reached a point where I had to find somebody, because it was literally impossible for me to handle the workload.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, still doing project management and lead generation and anything else.
Yeah.
So
So you had still those habits, and maybe you were behaving
yeah,
in a way like a freelancer. And up
yeah.
until which point was that? Like, how long did that take for you to realize that and then make the change?
I would say 2.5 months. Two and
Two
a
and a
half
half.
months.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I try to never stop lead generation.
Mm-hmm.
So and I was like, okay, yeah, that was one thing, because you mentioned that all the time, right? Never stop lead generation. So that was always in the back of my mind, right? And so I always try to free up hours to do lead generation and other stuff, and I try to make everything else as efficient as possible. But at some point, I was just like, shit, I need to figure that out. I need to find somebody to hire. Yeah.
Interesting. So, and approximately, what was your company's revenue in those first 2 or 3 months of this process that we just described? What kind of money were you what was coming into your business at that point?
I think we started out with like 5K, 8K, and then we went up to 15K.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, now we are at over. I hope we're going to reach 30K this month.
Okay,
So
good month. We're what date is today? 19th, I think. Yeah.
yeah, so we can still make it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about last 30 days then. So how does your business work? Like, just tell me about your business in the last 30 days.
Mm. Okay. Um, we we don't have a project manager right now. So one of my tasks is to manage, like, to make sure what I do, like, at least once a day, or even like at least 3 times a day, is I look at all the tasks for all the different projects that are left, and make sure that all the tasks are distributed to the right persons. I look at, like, okay, who is working on what, um, make sure that I know when it's done, make sure that I put in a task to check what they did, like all that kind of stuff. Check
Mm-hmm.
what they do, know what they're doing, know when it's finished, and make sure that the tasks are distributed correctly. Um, and I actually didn't notice how much work it is until I've written it down,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, oh, I don't need a project manager. Like, it's just like, oh, you just you just look at stuff, right? It's but after I've written it down, like how much time it takes, I realized, okay, maybe I should hire a project manager. Um, and one of the other things is that I still do sometimes development work, when it's something very, very complex that that I can't really explain to somebody else, or explaining would take too much time, or we are just too busy. So I did like 2 hours of development work today because we were just um, too busy. So that's also stuff that I'm still doing, and of course lead generation and sales calls.
What has changed now that in the last 30 days you I mean, now you're on track for 30K essentially, right? So you did already this month, in the 19 days, what's revenue approximately?
Um, and our revenue, over 25,000.
Yeah. So what has changed from before? So the first 3 months and now, what are the major changes that allowed you to more than double and even more
Um,
revenue?
right. Okay. My proposals became much better.
Hmm.
Um, I basically, well, I try to, any money that I made in the first month, I was like, well, I try to spend my money and my time at least, if like at least every day, or at least like a few hours per week on, um, not just tasks that have a very short, like, lifetime, but tasks that are actually bringing my business to some next kind of level. And that included working on my proposals to clients, like, okay, getting in touch maybe with a copywriter and having him look at my proposal, asking my designer to do a new layout of our website, right? And building that kind of stuff. So basically building out different assets for the business, getting being very clear in the sales process. Obviously now we also have quite a big portfolio, so that gives us like a lot of credibility. I asked each of my past clients to give me a video testimonial. So right now we have like, I don't know, 7 video testimonials on our website, which is just, it's awesome, right? So people, we get a lot of credibility from that. So that makes it easier as well.
I think lots of companies don't finish projects and they're terrified that their customer, like they're even afraid of being on camera. So, and I don't think either me or you are this amazing on camera or anything like that, or amazing at interviewing people or anything. But if you have a lot of happy customers or clients in your case,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And what are there any other skills you've learned in the mastermind? So
I would say like taking less bullshit from other people, and to value myself and my time much more. That is one big thing. Value time.
So what would you advise someone who was in your position? So let's say 6 months ago when you were a freelancer, and let's say someone's making $1,500 or euros per month as a freelancer, and they're a very high skilled developer. They know, they understand project management perhaps to some degree, but they're only making 1.5K as a freelancer. And they're wondering, why am I doing this shit? Why don't I have a job where I get make 5, 6K, right? So what would you say to those people?
I would say, I don't necessarily think that freelancing as a developer is a bad thing. I wouldn't necessarily say that, because it's just a very, it's a creative, very enjoyable thing to do, and you might, that might be your thing.
Okay.
It wasn't my thing, so, and I know it for a lot of other freelancers, it's not their thing either. Like they don't like it or something. So take a very close look at why you're doing it in the first place, and take a look at how to present yourself, and how you present yourself to clients, to play your strengths, like to play what you're good at. And yeah, that would be the first step, and look at what kind of clients you're dealing with.
Yeah. Be picky, right?
Yeah, be picky. Exactly. Like be picky. Don't let people just push you around, value your time. Know what you're worth. Okay. And look at your competition, because what I didn't know back then was what my competition actually looks like. I thought my competition is awesome. Now I'm hiring and I know what my competition looks like, and I know they are awful. They are really bad, and it's really hard to find somebody who is good. So, and I didn't know that.
Or on calls, or like in what way? What are the mistakes that freelancers are making essentially? What are they?
Like that I see now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No English. Okay. So that's one thing. Like if you can speak English, you're already better than 90% of the rest. Not listening. Being not really not getting things, like not being able to think for yourself, where you have to explain every little detail, and they are not really taking workload off. They are just putting. It always makes me want to do the task myself, right? If somebody asks me like a lot of like stupid questions, I'm like, you know what, forget it. Like I'm just going to do it myself. And if you're somebody that knows, well, I know, like I can work with minimal requirements, and I can do my job. That is something a lot of other freelancers can't do.
When you had a job, did someone else organize your
time? Well, yes, he allocated what I should be working on. Yeah.
Mhm. And how do
Yes.
you feel switching from that to just complete self-management, where you're almost 100% in charge? How did that like? How did that feel?
It feels good, but it's also difficult to handle. You get the freedom to choose when you want to work and you want to stop, but you also need to be careful because you can just work endlessly. There's no
Mhm.
like um, for me, I made working my default. Like it's the least part of resistance for me. I'm just like, oh yeah, I just work. Um, so I need to focus. Okay, I should also take some time off to
Mhm.
actually get that done. Yeah,
And is the client always right? What is your current opinion on that? Like on a scale of 1 to 10.
1 to 2, right? I mean, they, uh, they have no idea. Like that's what I'm here for, right? To tell them, you know what, that's a really bad idea. If you definitely want to do that, let no problem. We can do that for you. But let me just tell you of years of basically 14 years of experience in development and like web development experience of a few years and web development of my team that has been working with me. That is a bad idea, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, so the answer is no. Like we are not always right.
Okay. And how before when, for example, 6 months ago when you were a freelancer, what did you think on a scale of 1 to 10? How much is the client right, or what?
Um, it that doesn't really. I was mostly working with agencies, so there wasn't really a right or wrong. So
Mhm.
they're just like, we need this developed, and I said okay.
Okay. And some did it like because they tell you they need it and they're the agency and you consider them to be an expert. Did you call them out on the flaws in their strategy or the architecture?
Um, well, I definitely did recommendation. I would like, you know what? Why don't we do this?
Mhm.
What do you think of that? Right? I definitely did that when it applied. Um,
And
but
yeah,
yeah,
and what
obviously, most of the time I didn't know like the bigger picture.
yeah. They didn't because it's you were like below like behind the intermediate like the in between person in a way, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
and did you feel like your feedback was effective back then?
Um, no, no.
And did you
I
feel like yeah, no, yeah.
I remember one client very specifically who invested probably like 10,000 US
Mhm.
dollars, maybe more. Um, they paid me in hours, so it was like over the course of months. In their website, and they literally made nothing, nothing. They had no return at all, and um, I was like, you know what? I actually think you're doing it wrong. Like, and I gave them like a 1 hour consultation about
Mhm.
like why their website is not working, what definitely would work, and how we can achieve that. And at the end, she was like, yeah, but nah. So um, I was like, wow. Um, that yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised that she didn't took the advice.
Right. And how effective is your feedback, your professional feedback to clients now that
100%.
are
A
100%?
100%. Yeah. Like
And
if I say something where I say this is a better solution, we do it.
okay, right. And so what has changed your life? So just personally, okay, not business, but what has changed your life
Hmm.
now from like
Um,
before?
what has changed in my life? Like
It yeah,
what is different?
what is different?
Um, to be very honest, not so much because I'm still working my ass off every
Mhm.
day.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm buying myself as much time as possible.
Mhm.
So for example, I don't go out and buy groceries anymore.
Mhm.
Like I just order shit because I'm like, well, I could like walk over and to the grocery store and shop around, or I can just do it online. It saves me, like, even if it's just half an hour, that half an hour is definitely worth saving. So I'm trying to save as much time as possible. That is probably one of the biggest things that has changed.
Okay. And so you're basically in the process of buying back your time so you can focus on what are you going to do with the time that you're buying back right now?
Invest it back in my business. So if I'm not cooking food, like I'm just ordering some healthy stuff like online, and I'm using that time that I don't have to cook to come up with different ways to improve my business.
Right. So are you working harder than you did as a freelancer? Was it like more hours, more like does it feel like it's harder, and is it more hours, or what's happening with that?
It is yes. It is. No, it's not more hours, actually. It is not more hours, especially when I started out freelancing. At the end, yes. Now I'm working more hours than I was working at the end, because I was like, I need to take some time off. But not when I was starting out.
Mm-hmm.
But the work is challenging differently. Before it was more like low engaging kind of work, where I didn't have to use my brain so much. Now it's much more like thinking on a much different level about different things, right?
So
Sorry.
at the end of the day now, how do you feel now at the end of the day after a work day? What does it feel like at the end of the work day?
Good. Good. It does feel good, because I'm making progress, and know that it's going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And do you feel like your work contributes more and you have more impact, more influence, or not?
Yes. I feel like I'm creating something valuable. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So in terms of the Daily Business Hustle Masterminds, which you joined 4 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
would you recommend other people who are developers who have other valuable skills? Would you recommend them to join, or would you recommend such a mastermind to people like that? And if yes, why? And if no, also why?
Actually, I think that's a very, very tough question. Because from my own experience, right? When I started, I was when I had the first thought of like, I want to start a business.
Mhm.
It was of completely different reasons. I was like, I just wanna bang girls and travel, right? That was my reason. So I want to be independent. So I was like, so that's what I'm gonna do, drop shipping now. That's how I developed that thought. And then it evolved into something totally different, where I was like, well, I'm not making an impact. I don't like, and so it's a very difficult, it's a very personal kind of thing to want to start a business. I don't think it's for everybody. I don't think everybody should start a business. I think like being an entrepreneur is way too overhyped right now.
Mhm.
Like you can fully express yourself in your job and have like a 9-to-5 job and just work hard in your job.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you if you can't express yourself in your job, or you want to do something totally out different, and you have a great idea, or you want to deliver value to the world in a very different way, then you should start a business. Yeah. But if you just want to travel and have lots of free time, don't do it.
Okay. All right. So what are you doing now?
Working.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, in terms of your life, apart from work.
Okay. I don't know. I go to the gym sometimes.
Are you living? Where are you living? What are you doing with your life apart from work?
Well, I'm traveling right now, but it's just because I can't decide like if where I should live. Like I literally like that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna travel like for the next 3 months until I've decided if I should rent some place or buy a flat or something.
Okay. And is this different from what you were doing before?
No.
So before you were also traveling and doing this, yeah?
Yes. I was also traveling, also working, and now it's yeah, it's kind of the same.
Okay. So you were traveling to Asia like this when you were a freelancer making $3,000 or less, yeah?
No. So I went to Asia because th- at a time where I just started out freelancing,
Hmm.
and I went to Asia because I was like, it's gonna be cheap in Asia, and I can start my freelancing career and yeah, get up to speed and not spend so much money on my living costs.
Hmm.
Uh, and it then turned out that actually quite a few places in Asia are quite expensive.
Yeah.
First of all, it's actually not as cheap as you have to. Airbnbs are expensive.
Hmm.
Um, Food can be very expensive, especially like if you want to eat healthy. Um, and yes, so I actually spent a lot of money on it,
Hmm.
and I had to I burned through all the cash that I had left. I had to borrow money from my mom
Yeah.
because I couldn't afford food or like a plane ticket back, and I was just broke, and I had to borrow money to get back home.
You had to what?
I had to borrow money to get back home.
When you were a freelancer, basically, yeah?
Yep.
And how many months ago was this when you had to borrow money to get back home?
10 months maybe.
Okay.
10, yeah. 10.
I mean, you mentioned you're doing the same thing you were doing before. So are you now borrowing money to get back home for your mother?
No. I've no, I'm not. Yeah.
Okay. Are you afraid for your financial situation?
Not at all. Yeah, not at
Where in
all.
the world can't you go right now if you wanted to go somewhere?
I I can go anywhere, anytime. Like I can just take a week off and rent, like a really nice place on Bali or something. Like I don't have to worry about the place where I'm going at all.
Is that different from before when you had to borrow money from your mother to get back home?
Right. Yes, I see your point. Yes, it is. It is different. Yeah, it is very different.
Okay. So some positive change may have happened.
Yeah, yeah, you're quite right. Yeah, I'm like before that I was staying in really shitty places. I was like, I can't afford. I need to save money. I can't afford that. Um, now I don't really care. Yeah, I'm like, well, it's not like I'm just throwing around money, right? But I'm like, well, I need a place where I can concentrate and work and get some good sleep. Not like next to a busy road or something.
And has this improved the quality of your life?
Yes, very much, very much. I mean, when I was freelancing, my health was in shambles,
Mhm.
like completely destroyed,
Mhm.
completely destroyed.
Okay. And now?
Um, I wish I would be in a better shape, but everything else is pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Well, could definitely fix that. All right. So get like a fitness coach, gym membership, morning routine. But
Yeah, yeah. I like doing CrossFit, so I am being active, but it's just like a time kind of thing. To actually do it. It's not the highest priority right now.
okay. So considering that what do you think of the daily business hustle mastermind? Should we all start wearing shirts and Rolex watches? Start doing that. Do you think that will help anyone?
No, no. Why? No.
I don't
I
know.
why that why would you even do that? I don't know. That makes no sense.
I don't know.
No. Yeah.
People
I don't
told
know
me
either.
that. People said, Alex, you need to tell people how much money you make and what Rolexes. What do you think of that? would you have joined the mastermind if you saw this video here and I was talking about myself and wearing Rolexes? Would that have helped?
Um, that would have not helped at all. No. Maybe I can't say like for 100% because I might have had like a very different kind of mindset before I joined. But now I'm like, no, what are you talking about? Like, why would I buy Rolex? It makes no sense. Like,
Mm.
uh, you start to think about like everything like in terms of return on investment. Like,
Mhm.
and it's like, why would I buy a Rolex? Like, it makes yeah, it makes no sense.
But I mean, if you wanted to, if you really, really wanted to, if it was your number one goal in life, would you?
Hmm. If that would be my if um I mean if it would be my number one goal, yeah,
But why isn't it?
maybe like
Why isn't it? Like why isn't stuff like that your number one goal right now? Why isn't it? Or what happened?
mm,
Like why are you interested in investing in business? Why not just go on trips all the time and only spend half the year working?
um because right, it's a tough question, but the, it's too short term thinking. Um, it's too short term where I would be like, okay, well, I'm gonna be on the trip, and then the trip is over. I have not. Um, I'm trying to build like long term value for myself. That's what I'm
Mhm.
trying to do. I'm trying to think, okay, I'm gonna be in for the long run. This is not like a sprint where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna fuck off to some beach on Bali
Mhm.
and spend all my money. Um, I mean, at some point, yeah, of course, like I wanna take a holiday, take some time off, and relax. I'm not saying that that is a particularly bad idea,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, think about the long term. Like, what is your goal in the long term?
Mhm.
And I'm not happy with the money that I'm making right now. Right? I'm like, okay, um, uh, this is not my goal.
Mhm.
Right? I'm not there yet. So why stop? Like I need to move ahead. Like I'm looking at the goal, not at what I have right now.
Okay. So I would say you're one of the better performers in the mastermind who's joined in the last few months. Um, are you
Thanks.
the only one? Like, did I pick you out as the only person who's been successful in the last 4 months? Like, are you a complete outlier? What would you say?
No, no. There have been in the last few months there have been people who have performed like a lot better than me, the same or just as good. Like
And some of them worse.
there's yeah, but there's nothing special about me at all. Like it's not like, oh yeah, I'm some kind of genius who came up with like cool stuff. Like no, I just did what was taught. Like I just followed the process.
All right. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing. I hope it was very valuable. So if anyone's in a similar situation to where Dominique was, maybe a year ago, or maybe 10 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, or you're in where he's now and you want to grow even further in your business, or you're just interested in finding out more about what it is that we do and what it is Dominique does, there's a button here below. It's a message button. Just hit me up. I'll personally, not forever, but for a while now, I'll personally reply to you if you're interested, and I'll you know answer your questions. So thanks, Dominic. Thanks for
Thanks,
contributing
Alex.
value and helping people here.